And we're live and we're back with the daytime with Scotty, one of your friendly, almost common sense carnivores. And I am going to quickly update my wife. She's off to physical therapy for a shoulder and let her know I'm live now. So stand by. Oh, yeah, I know. Great, great, isn't it, to be doing this and this at the same time? Yeah. Okay. There. Done. All right. I sent that out. She should be able to get the message, and that will, facilitate. If she comes in and say, "Hey, let's go do something," or the dogs bark, we all know what happened. So here we are on Wednesday morning. It is the 27th of March, and I trust everybody's doing well today. And as I look around and try to think about what exactly and we discuss today different maybe from other days? Maybe it's the same. Maybe we rehash some topics. But for sure, I want to discuss some things about the carnivore way of life, some carnivore videos I've seen out and about. And I think it's an important thing to do just from the perspective of there's always new information being added into this space. I was just watching Dr. Benjamin Bickman, and he was speaking on allulose, the sugar. And I don't know what any of you might have as an experiment with allulose. And I say that because I understand that allulose might not have oh, a impact on our glucose, but I don't know what it does to the rest of the body. I don't know if it's really a smart thing to mess around with eating sweet things. I do know that I use saccharin and I use the Necco. I want to call them Necco. They're just the saccharin tablets. Yet I'm getting the feeling, I'm getting a thought that says maybe, just maybe, I want to cut back or cut those out because maybe just that sweet message that I'm getting is causing some challenges between all the different receptors and the things that are going on. So, um, not terribly sure exactly how things play out, but just wondering what some of your inputs are as far as allulose. Now, also, I want to take this as an opportunity to again share with you different things I've seen in different uh, prov- purveyors, providers, different individuals in the carnivore space, keto space. In particular, last night I was really happy to see Russ out there. I believe Russ is uh, the Buckeye. I don't know the Buckeye Carnivore or the Buckeye Keto, but I'm making sure I get this history right. I've already butchered it enough for one day, so yeah, homesick Buckeye. Thank you. Sorry about that, Russ. I get to know you by your first name more than I do by your YouTube handle. So if any of you are out there looking for someone who is pretty awesome to watch, that would be Russ at the Homesick Buckeye. He has such great comedic talent, and he's got a great voice. He'll sing sometimes, but he is not militant or so strict about his um, methods of employing keto and carnivore. He'll tell you straight up he's pretty much carnivore with a keto flavor because that's what works for him. And I think that's really important that we make sure we understand not all of us are cut from the same cloth. Not all of us respond the same to the similar inputs. So that's a good thing. Also, I want to talk about, and I'm gonna bring it up. I'll probably get some noise here, but stand by as I bring this up, and I'll mute it. Okay, I've muted it there. I don't want to get in trouble or get any strikes for having improper audio. But I've been watching a group of ladies, one meeting wellness, and she gets on Christy, and she gets on there with a couple other ladies on a regular basis. Christy at Meeting Wellness, and you got Ellie at Nourishment Redacted. And last night they had someone from The Biggest Loser, Adrian Gledhill. She was on season 3, and she was on relating her experience. She has a condition that really makes it difficult for her to do um, a vegetarian or vegetable based diet. She didn't know it for a long time, and she finally, I believe, has overcome this. So it was great to see Christy and the gang out there doing what they do, bringing carnivore content with a focus for the ladies out there. And I think that's awesome. By the way, I see you there. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming and dropping in and spending some time here. What I'm doing right now is just giving a shout out to some of the people I've been watching and following and trying to use as sources for information. Of course, there's always Dr. Ben or Benjamin Bickman. He's a wonderfully intelligent, capable guy who can really explain the topics that are important to me. And then, of course, I want to give a shout out to our friend out here in my weight loss life. Just went through a tragedy. He lost his mom. He's been the caretaker for his mom for a long time. And Greg is a wonderful human being. And there you go. He lost his mother recently, so that's going to be a big deal for him. Hello, Mama Cracker. Good to see you. How you doing? I hope all is well with you. Yeah, Scotty P. Just don't call me late for a meal, okay? I don't like being late for my food. How you doing today, Mama? Everything going well for you? Hey, I believe you were in that live stream yesterday when the ladies were talking about Christy from Meeting Wellness and everything there. And they were talking about some of those impacts that a high vegetable diet has on some people. And I'm not sure. I know I get around to a lot of different live streams, and, we tend to show up in the same places on a regular basis. But anyhow, I think that's good. I think we need to surround ourselves with like-minded people who are on the same journey, so that we can, you know, find a way to relate to someone in the time that we're not doing great. So, Mama, what's going on with your world? How are things going by you? Do you have some non-scale victories you'd like to share with the world, I guess? I mean, when we put this up, this is pretty much for the world. But if you have some non-scale victories, by all means, go ahead and type them into the comments. And if you can hit that like button, that'd be great. You're doing well. Good, good, good. I just got 2,000 steps in. Um, Having joined the retirement ranks about a year ago, Mama and I, my wife and I, we have determined that some of the bills we had, the reoccurring bills, were perhaps unnecessary, not because they were financially damaging to our well-being, but more because um, I just can't justify paying someone else to do things that I can do, like taking care of my lawn, as far as fertilizing and taking care of the weeds through the chemical applications. So we dropped that, and now I'm my lawn guy, and we dropped a bug guy. And in doing that, we're saving the better parts of $100 a month. So we're saving the $100 a month, $110 maybe a month by our doing it. But I still have to buy the supplies, so I'm probably going to spend $30 a month anyway. So, save $70 a month, $70 a month. That'll put gas in the car for most of the month, maybe, or at least in one of the cars, and that's a good thing to do. Going back, I was Rarely really interesting. I don't know, if you've, done a lot of listening on this, Mama, but it was about the allulose, and I was listening to Thomas DeLauer talk about it, and then I listened to Dr. Benjamin Bickman talk about it, and that allulose is a sweetener, but it's made from corn and from corn syrup, and while it doesn't have a glucose challenge, I just don't know. In Europe, it isn't really, mm, banned, but they said it hasn't been out on the market long enough for there to be any evidence to support it being not healthy. So you started a scale from non-diet, non but you lost 35 pounds? Well, that is awesome. I want the non-scale ones too. Both and I'm seeing some, like, I can see I don't know if you can see, but I have these little hollows in my cheek, and, I'm starting to see some, reduction of body fat in extremities. I can see my ankles in the morning. Mhm. Oh, yeah, just anything. I get it, I get it. It also, but they were saying that it helps because of something like GLP-1, which takes care of glucagon and may actually have some impacts for insulin resistance and fatty liver. But anything you take that says you might have explosive diarrhea after eating it, I don't know. Maybe we ought not go into that willy nilly, right? I mean, we already did the standard American diet as it is, and that was pretty willy nilly. But really focusing on insulin resistance, and I want to focus on pancreas and the liver, as you probably recall from some of my comments in earlier videos and yesterday. Is my focus is greatly increased on fatty liver because I've been carrying around a fatty liver for a while, and I don't think that's bueno, not a good thing. I know I'm a little bit insulin resistant when I do the triglycerides divided by HDL. It shows me just borderline resistant. When I look at my ALT or my AST ALT ratio, I look pretty good. I know that my insulin level for the past couple measurements have been a little bit lower. Hello and welcome. I know that my insulin levels have been a little bit lower, but I have not found myself to really be super low on my glucose. So, hello, Sandra Johnson. Good day to you. How are you? Welcome to the daytime exploration into all things of our health and diet with a focus on keto and carnivore. But I am more than happy to talk about a wide variety of topics as long as they talk about and we talk about things that are impactful to our well-being, like reducing stress, things of that nature. Now, just through the link up there in the comments section, if there's somebody out there who wants to join and you have your computer up and running with the camera and all that, all you have to do is follow that link. I'll see you in the what we might call the green room, and I'll be happy to throw you up on the screen and give you an opportunity to chat. Sometimes the text is really good, and doing things in comments is a safe environment. But then again, at times, we can say so much more in just a few phrases. So feel free to explore that. There are a couple people out there now in the carnivore space. Limitless Lindy, this was the first place that she was able to get out there and safe space. No one's going to attack you for your elocution, right? We're not going to get all caught up in wordsmithing things. And as you can tell with the numbers that are smashing into here, it's a really super duper, how would you say, popular place where, you have to be worried about things. I mean, at any minute, we'll expect Dr. Barry to drop in or Dr. Chafee. Okay, that was wishful thinking, if not an outright lie. But nonetheless, I think this is a place and a time where we can discuss things. So if y'all have something you want to discuss, please put it in the comments. If you see someone else in there, Make sure you say hi to the other people too, Sandra and Mama. And you never know, someone there, if you don't already follow them, you don't already interact with them. Maybe they have some pearls of wisdom that will help you in your journey. I think uh, we all could use more friends or people, maybe not friends. I don't want to throw that term out too loosely, but we could all use some people in our lives that actually care about us, because that is not an easy thing. Don't you agree, Mama, Sandra? It is not an easy thing to find people who really, I don't know, invest in you, who listen to you. And I know that's a skill. I personally know listening is a skill I am still working on, because I'd like to say I'm a listener, but I know more that I'm a talker. So I can't be a great listener. All right. So what do we have here? There are so many of us. It's hard. I know it is hard to follow. It is hard to spread the love. You, when I get on, I don't normally go to really, really, really big um, live confabs. Like if Dr. Chafee is doing something, or Dr. Barry, I don't really go on with them too much, because honestly, honestly, um, there, there there's a little opportunity to get that recognition. Not that we should be going there for recognition, but recognition is nice, right? Not many at all, right? Right. So if we can make connections, and we can build a community where we're familiar with each other, we understand some of the trials and tribulations and the challenges and the successes, not just the tough parts, but the good parts. I think that helps. And also, what do you all think? I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's really nifty to follow along and see people's lives. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why they have soap operas, right? And one of the reasons I'm calling this like a daytime thing is because it's not a soap opera like I need to sell something to you. I have no products. I do on my YouTube page. If you go to it and look at my profile, I do have an option for people to buy me a coffee. And that would be awesome if someone did. I'd love it, so I can help pay for this uh, software. I think I have to pay about $22 a month. If I don't, that's okay. I'm doing this because I really like to do it. I really find a passionate flame um, lit up in my heart when I get to share with people and I get to interact with people. And when I was working, I think I had a lot more interaction with people. Now that I'm not working, my interactions have diminished, but this is a great vehicle to do that with. So I appreciate you being here and appreciate you sharing some of your time. But it is really, really difficult to get out and be everywhere for all people at all times. You just can't do it. Join Lindy and Todd and Michael. Yeah. Now, I love what they're doing, Lindy and Todd, and they really have a good chemistry going back and forth with each other. And they bring something to the table that very few people can bring, and that is that lifelong effort and struggle with health, with weight, and all that goes along with having an exorbitant amount of excess weight. So they're walking and talking and living and struggling every day with that struggle. So that really is to use a often coined phrase. It is inspirational, very much so. Now, Dr. Kiltz is a hoot. Dr. Kiltz is going at 400 miles an hour. He is like zoom. And I liked watching when he does the pottery and he makes his kilts cups. And he's really a dynamic gentleman. Uh, yeah, I think he's an awesome guy, and I love his content. But you got to buckle up, Buttercup, because he's coming at you. He's almost like way over the noise meter. He's out there. Yeah, if you haven't watched Dr. Kiltz, you haven't seen Dr. Kiltz, because once you've seen Dr. Kiltz, you know. So that's an awesome thing. Um, Sandra, if I'm awake, I do coming up to 6 p.m. here. Okay, Sandra, if it's 6 p.m., you're overseas somewhere? Because we're at 11:33. So that would put you in a Central European time zone, I would suspect. I'm not sure. Maybe South Africa. I'm not sure, but I know that when I was stationed in Germany, I was always up on that Greenwich Mean Time, the GMT. That'd be kind of interesting to put that up if we get a lot of people here on the daytime. We'll be able to tell when if Lindy comes up or if our good friends in South Africa come up. So Germany, that's right, Germany. Now I remember. I remember you came into my lives a while back because yeah, I was in Central Region Germany and I spent 12 years in Germany, and it was a wonderful time of my life. But wow, the last time I was in Germany was 2000, and it might have been early 2004. So it's been 20 years since I've been in Germany. Yeah. Wow. How time flies. Where? Oh, I lived near Nuremberg, Ansbach, Kadebach, off the B40, I want to say. And then I also lived in Bad Kreuznach und auch Darmstadt und Stembach. Yeah, so I spent about 12 years there, and all along that central region of Germany. And of course, I was in Grafenwehr and Hohenfels and all points in between. Ich bin ein Wetterfrosch. I was a weather forecaster, weather observer over there. I was there in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. So over 4 decades, I spent 12 years there. You're down south. Oh, yeah, is that down south? You're in the Northwest? Okay, ich kenne. I had a German girlfriend. Maybe that was the reason I was there a lot. I had a German girlfriend, and she had family that lived in Dresden, and I had family that lived in Berlin, in the area. And my brother was in Berlin for about 10 years of his army career. So, yeah, we spent a lot of time in Germany. Well, my mom's maiden name is Hoffman. So go figure that out. And my wife's maiden name is Pickelsheimer, but I think they were from Beckelsheim. So go figure. I have a strong German and English slash French family background for a lot of my family tree. Got a little branch that goes in Slovakia. And we might have a branch or two going somewhere else. I can't be honest. I can't tell you for sure. For sure, DNA tests I don't think are as accurate as people like to think they are. So, what do you have there? Have you seen Yes. I've been on a Carnivore Soldiers broadcast real early on in his doing interviews. I was on one of his shows. He is down in Texas, and he's a retired warrant officer. Yep, I have caught up with him on more than one occasion, and I check in with him on occasion when he's on. Um, he also has great content. There's no doubt about it. Um, but like I said before, and as you well know, not everybody can be everywhere at one time. So I thought I would explore this middle of the daytime slot for people who are retired and people in foreign countries. Graham will check in sometimes from South Africa. I love having Graham in, and I love having him on when he has time. He'll actually come up on camera, and it's just great to have the different perspectives of people. And I know he works in a business mode, but for a fishing company, so it's pretty interesting to get his perspective on things. We're going back to look at some of the people, and we've talked about a few of the people that are awesome. And I think giving shout outs is an important thing to do here. Been watching the Carnivore Cafe with Homestead How and with JT from Poco Moonshine Family, and they have different guests on at different times. And of course, they're a wonderful group of gentlemen. Everybody pretty much knows uh, Carrie at Homestead How, but Adam at Carnivore Today, he puts out great content, and he's such a consummate professional in what he does. 'Cause I know that he is a professional photographer, graphic artist. So when you look at his stuff, it's just absolutely gorgeous. He really polishes it up. If you're going to look for someone to have great thumbnails, that's the guy who's going to have great thumbnails. I'm not that guy. I like photography. I've done photography, but I'm not a photographer, so to speak. And I don't want to spend the time on all the effort to um, properly adjust photos. Another one I've been watching, and I don't know if you've seen him. Yeah, Adam's great. Is the gentleman on Carnivore in 24? Yeah, he is a young man, and he's talking about his journey, and he's enjoying some success. Man, I think this past week he had a scare. So I guess a while back he had a heart attack. And he's young, young. He had a heart attack. And then so he's doing what he needs to do. And then this past week he had a scare, and he had some real tightness in his chest, and it felt something like he'd had before. So he went into the ER to get that all checked out, and they did all the blood gases and the blood draw and the EKG, and he was fine. But he was concerned about what was going on in his heart. And I was like, well, golly gee, bud. And he was asking if any of us had any kind of experience with anything like this. And I was thinking, and I'm asking you all, do any of you have acid reflux at all? I don't, or have you had acid reflux? Matter of fact, I'm gonna put a link to his channel in the chat there. There you go, at Carnivore in 24, and his name is Blake. And I wanted to be able to reach out to him. I wish I could get him to come in here on the daytime. We'll see. He probably works for a living. So, but yeah. So with that acid reflux, I mean, go figure. If you have excess weight and if you have a lot of it, and maybe you have some dysregulation in your metabolism and all those things, it stands to reason there's probably going to be some acid reflux. And I think one of the worst things we do, I've had it, and I'm gonna go more into that then. But one of the biggest things is the challenge that when you lay down and you have that burn going in your esophagus, if you're not careful over a long period of time, you could get Barrett's esophagus, and that's where the lining of the stomach comes up into, goes past the I want to say the pyloric valve, goes up into the esophagus, and then if it's untreated and unchecked over time, it could develop into an esophageal type of cancer. No bueno, right? So and when you're carrying a lot of extra visceral fat, there's just only so much room. You have this containment system, but it's just your skin, and you get some subcutaneous fat, and then we know that's not great, but it's where it's supposed to go. And then you have your visceral fat, and you have the fatty deposits in your muscles, in your organs. You have ectopic fat that goes around your organs, and all of that is highly inflammatory. So if you have an inflammatory condition in your body all the time, and then you're throwing in food, regardless, I think, of your sensitivity, well, I think it stands to reason that you're going to probably experience some kind of acid reflux heartburn. Well, if the acid reflux gets pronounced enough, or it persists enough, you could aspirate it into your bronchial tubes and your bronchial airways, and it will mimic or look like asthma, and can bring on asthma-like symptoms and conditions. Now, I'm an asthmatic. I have sleep apnea and the acid reflux. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I hit the trifecta, right? And the challenge with that is you're treating one and you could be exacerbating the other. And that's what I think is absolutely amazing about this way of eating where we we eliminate the things that can be elevating our responses. And like we said, what is that? Like an elimination diet? So you eliminate tomatoes and maybe the acid reflux gets better, right? And you eliminate the other foods. It could be citrus foods, and you get a little bit better. And then you find out, well, if I get rid of things that have cellulose in them, because humans can't digest cellulose, we can't. That's not a question. That's not under debate. We can't digest cellulose. Now, the bacteria in your body, in your gut biome, they can use it and we get a benefit from that, but we can't. So our need for cellulose isn't near what some would have you to say because we just can't digest it. People say, well, you need fiber. If you don't have fiber, you'll never poop. That's a lie. Just gonna put that out there. So, yeah, what you got there? I want to look real quick here. When did I start this diet? Well, I actually started um, trying carnivore for 3 years or 4 years ago. Every January, Dr. Baker would have his uh, a carnivore January month, and I would join up and get in there late to get along there. I would say I've been predominantly keto to carnivore on and off for 3 years. When I'm on it, everything's good. When I'm off, it's not. But this past, let's see, it would have been, let's say in July of last year, I went into keto carnivore pretty hard. I would say in August, I was firmly in a carnivore state of mind and a dirty carnivore. And then October came, so I was into August, September, and most of October, 3 months. I was enjoying good success, down 25, 30 pounds, And then Halloween came. Some stressful events came. And I didn't go off. I didn't, you know, fall down. I flat out flew off the planet. I was shoving everything into my pie hole. I was I was washing I was washing Snickers bars down with diet soda and Reese's Pieces, and then Christmas came or Thanksgiving came, and I'm washing cookies down with eggnog, and I'm enjoying fruit cake, and I am just completely off planet. Hey Marvin, good to see you. Glad to see you. Oh, they're my dogs. Oh, I got family's home. But, so, yeah, I've been on it and off of it for a while, but, it made things the same way they always are. So, anyhow, back on it now and a little bit more of a focus on the details and chronicling a little stronger and a little better, and we'll see how this goes with, particularly with things with uh, the liver. I don't think I'm in any dire consequence. I think what happens, I'm a tall fellow. I'm really tall, and I've read a lot of things that say tall people have bigger organs. And, your heart's a little bigger, your liver's a little bigger, your pancreas, all those things. So I am hoping that by being a really tall person, that maybe when they measure my portal vein, it just so happens that I'm not only big boned, but I have a big portal vein and that everything's healthy. At which point in time, I'll be, yes, I will. Yeah, the old sugar slide there. Yeah, I know how that goes. It's an amazing poison that gets right into your head and your brain receptors, and off you go. I mean, I'd be okay if I could uh, just eat like potatoes in a once in a while and all the vegetables I normally like. I normally like all your green vegetables. I'm not a big corn fan. I mean, I like corn, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that's a steady thing in my diet. But I would like to have potatoes and maybe homemade bread or something like that, maybe biscuit here or there, gravy for sure, but not until I get some better, results. Sandra, I started last year, I did well, yep, then went to yeah, yep, yep, there you go. Um, I think the idea is and, my wife is, such a blessing for me because she keeps me, rooted in reality, and you you know, um there are people like Dr. Chafee and Dr. Baker, and I guess, Carrie Homestead Howe, they are absolutely all in on on maintaining this lifestyle. But for the rest of us, people like to call humans, we're not only fallible, we're gonna be prone to saying, "Hey, I'm gonna have some of that birthday cake. I'm gonna have that slice of pizza." I suspect the answer is not one thing. There's no silver bullet panacea that says, "Hey, I can do this one thing and forever and ever I'll do it and forever and ever I'll be better." No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, 1% will drop out soon. All right, you take care. Thank you very much for spending some time. Cheers. All right. And yeah, yep, it is nice. It is nice. And my wife is, hi, hon. Everything good? And, yeah, so, everything everything and you take care, Sandra. I appreciate you dropping in. By all means, drop in some other time. If you see the lamp lit, jump on in, all right? Appreciate you. Have a nice evening. Guten Tag, guten Abend. Yeah, all right. I've, exhausted my Deutsch. Um, but no, all in all, I think the sweet spot in all this is to find a level where healthy you exists and a healthy you coexists with the life. Yeah, I love that too. So only some people know the T thing works. I gotcha. Um, in life, we are not a rock unto ourselves. Speaking of a rock, I just so happen to have one right here. Um, but we are not a rock unto ourselves. We exist in a gravel bed of things, and um, when we get to a point where we're healthy, physiologically and emotionally, I think we'll have more latitude to interact with people around us in the way we normally do. But until we get there, though, that focus is really, really important. And um, that's why I'm do this because it's going to help me, And when I see people out there like our friend here at Carnivore 24, and he's talking about the chest stuff, right? And that chest pain. And he says, "Hey, why is this chest pain?" Well, one of the things that I found out that really affected me because of my acid reflux that had to be treated. I mean, I'd be eating food, and I came from a family where my mom was home, and my mom and my dad were very active in raising me. What I mean by that is my mom, dad were very present in most every aspect of my life, and particularly when I was eating. So there was a proper way to eat. One of them was you don't talk with your mouth open. You we didn't have to wait or raise our hand. We didn't have to raise our hand to speak at the table, but we definitely had to make sure our mouths didn't have food in them because mom or dad would introduce us to the back of their hand if we had food in our mouth and we were right, or if we were wolfing our food down, if we didn't chew our food enough, if we didn't clean our plate. Now, that one could have gone to the side. Why am I saying this? I know how to chew my food. I understand why you need to masticate the food and swallow it. Right? Well, anyway, I was about 27 or 28. And one day I was eating a can of tuna because, that protein is so good for you. And I've had to lose weight again. So I'm just mashing through the tuna. And oh, I got such pain in my chest. I thought I was going to die. That pain was no joke. That pain was like panic pain almost. And it was so bad. And the constriction in my chest was so bad. I couldn't swallow any saliva. And of course, my mouth and my stomach and my digestive system were all about, hey, we have food on board. Let's get some more saliva. Well, anyway, not to be graphic, I had to spit because it was building up. I was going to choke on it. I was going to aspirate on all of it. And and it was very frightening. And then it would pass. And then it happened again. And then it passed. And back and forth. And I found out, when I eat meats and I eat breads, I had more of the problem. I'm chewing my food. I did not know that I have what they call an esophageal stricture. Basically, in my esophagus, when you look at the tube of the esophagus, right? What was happening was my body was putting scar tissue up to keep the acid reflux out of my asthmatic lungs. My body was protecting me, but I didn't know that. All I knew was tightness in the chest. So I would stretch and I'd do everything I could. And I'd take little tiny bites. And a stupid stricture would get bigger and bigger and worse and worse. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. And I go to my doctor, and my doctor said, well, we're going to take a scope and look in your stomach. And here they go. And they look in there and they're like, oh, yeah. Well, your problem is you have this stricture. I said, okay, what do we do? And they go, oh, wow, here we go. What we do is we grab, I'm looking for my stick. I got sticks. Anyway, they grab a tool that looks like a mandrel that you might size a ring on, graduated. It starts narrow, tapered, and gets wider. And the French made it, a bouillaise. And what they do is they put you slightly, mostly under. They tilt your head back, and just like a sword swallower, they push this thing down your throat, and they rip open the stricture. I don't like that sound. Could have problems. But they tear the stricture open so that you can swallow again. Kind of like how they put stents in the arteries. They put the stent in there, and then when the stent goes in, they blow it up, and then you have the ability to have the blood pass through. So anyway, I've had that done 3 times. 3 times. Lucky me. So anyway, all of that to say, I'm I'm thinking that our good friend Blake over at Carnivore in 24 may have some esophageal strictures. And, the treatment to fix the stricture is, of course, like coring an apple. You gotta they push the stick in there, and then they pull the stick out, and you don't have it anymore until you get more buildup. I'm sure there's probably some surgical intervention where you can go in with a laser and burn it off and pull it out. But I was thinking that would hurt. And I don't know about the efficacy of that if you haven't taken care of the underlying physiological condition that is creating the environment for the body to protect itself, the stricture, the acid reflux. So, with all that being said, if you ever experience a tightness right in the sternum area, right? Like it can go from right about here down to your solar plexus, right in that area. If you feel like it hurts and something might be stuck there, that could be a sign that your acid reflux is getting the better part of you. And that's what happened to me. Now, let's get rid of the acid reflux. Well, how do we do that? Well, a lot of people seem to be doing pretty well doing this carnivore way of life. Now, the other thing to understand, and I had to research this, and I'm not a doctor. None of this is medical advice. Please don't construe this as medical advice. Please consult your medical professional if you're going to do anything wild and crazy that's different from what you normally do. Did that work? Okay. Um, the thing is your stomach has a certain job and function, and it's doing all the stuff it has to do with the foods and a mastication, and it has to do with the chemicals that go in and the acids and all the things that have to go on to make the food ready to go into your duodenum and on and through the tract. Well, when we take over-the-counter antacids, what you're doing is you're weakening the acidic content of your stomach. Oh, great. Goody, goody. The problem with that is now you have weak acid. Now, in your large intestines, and I'm like 99% sure of this, after everything leaves your stomach and it empties out into the stomach and it goes all the way through your small intestines, it's all the way to the end, to the next little valve that dumps it into your large intestines. Your large intestines is where you reabsorb those biliary salts, the bile stuff, right? And then it gets taken back up. And if you don't need it, it gets concentrated and goes to your gallbladder. If you have a gallbladder, if you don't have a gallbladder, it goes to the liver and chemically gets changed into something. Well, if what's brought back is constantly being weakened, you can't digest your food. When you can't digest your food, that's problematic. But also the valve, the little valve at the top of your stomach, right? That valve, it is activated. You think of like a Venus flytrap, right? Venus flytrap. I'm open, I'm open. And then when a fly comes in, but it tickles one of the little hair, the fly trap goes, and it takes care of the fly. Well, that's what this valve does. This valve stays open so the food and whatever is going down your throat can go down your throat unimpeded. But when the acid in your stomach gets to a certain threshold, that valve says, oh, time to go. And it closes tighter than a frog's butt in a swamp, right? So that keeps the acid in the stomach out of your throat. But you've weakened your stomach acid with the constant taking of the baking soda or whatever you're doing, and you can't get a strong enough, the molarity, the strength of the acid in your stomach isn't strong enough. It doesn't activate the little valve. And then what happens? Riddle me that. You get acid reflux. Now, the same makers of all these medications like, omeprazole and all those things, they know this. They try to attack it from a slightly different area and different mechanism. But if you're taking Tums and whatever else, I'm not picking on Tums, don't want anybody to get upset. But if you're taking that over-the-counter stuff and you're weakening your stomach acid, you're in effect prolonging and promoting the problem of the contents of your stomach going up into your esophagus. And that's no bueno because it might be weak acid in your stomach, but in your throat, it is still too strong for those tissues. So, again, our bodies were made in a certain way to do certain functions. And when we go mucking around in there, we end up causing problems. I mean, it is more than rocket science, but it's not rocket science, right? So that's why I wanted to say to my good friend there, Blake in Carnivore 24, is that tightness in his chest could be a stricture, and that stricture is because of acid reflux, and the acid reflux is for a lot of different things. But hey, it could be a hiatal hernia. There's so many. Could be this, could be that, could be a brooch, could be a hat. I don't know. But you got to get checked. You need to do your own little what do you call that in engineering, when you reverse engineer something, do some regression testing. Keep a food journal. I'm surprised about the number of people who don't keep a food journal who have digestive problems. Most of us, not all of us, but most of us have a cell phone, and you can go into your calendar and say, I ate a pizza today at 12 o'clock. And then you go in at 2:15 or 3 o'clock. Man, I'm sleepy. Oh, man, I have heartburn. I wonder if it was a pizza. I don't know. How many times have I eaten pizza and had heartburn? Wow, a lot. Maybe I should stop. Maybe. I don't know. Could be. I mean, we have to be our own advocates. We would be well served to learn just a little bit more about our own anatomy and physiology, to chronicle just a little bit more so that we can draw the association or the inference, and that's all the medical people are doing. You go to the doctor and they do a diagnosis. Okay, how you doing there, Mr. Scotty? Well, I'm doing well. I just come to the doctor's office because it's a cool place to hang out. No, you bozo. No, I don't feel good. Well, what do you don't feel good? And if you've ever had teenagers, particularly teenage girls, I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying. I was blessed to have one. When they tell you, I don't feel good, okay. How don't you feel good? Well, my tummy hurts. Okay. Can you point to where in your tummy it hurts? Because it turns out just about everything from here to the kneecaps is a tummy. No, we would do well to be able to say, I'm really feeling that my ascending colon, that'd be on your right side, right? Or right here across my solar plexus, it's not feeling kind of queasy. Maybe that's your transverse colon or descending colon, blah, 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 blah. In the middle, your small intestines, you don't need to know the duodenum or something like that, but you having some details, knowing that, hey, after I eat and I lay down, I get bad acid reflux. Well, okay, let's work on these things. Or, hey, every time I do a handstand or do a cartwheel or I get up fast, I get stars in my eyes, and things are fluttery. And well, maybe you got really low electrolytes, right? So many things that we can really, really do a good job of um, identifying. So when you go to the doctor, and then don't go there like a Google doc. The docs hate that. Well, I was looking on Google, and Google told me that I have osis. Well, did you go to medical school? No. Did you realize this happens and this? No, no, no. It's kind of like going to an auto mechanic and saying to the auto mechanic, I think my rear differential is having some problems. Well, the mechanic is going to give you he might not, but he'll give you a whole new back rear differential. Now, that may have not been the problem, but like one time I made a comment like that to a mechanic. I'm not a mechanic. And I made a comment like that. I think there's something wrong with the rear end of my van. And he said, okay. And he took it for a test drive. He came back and he said, well, let's look. And he opened up the back of the van and he found where the tire jack was and he put it in the little place it's supposed to be and he tightened it up. And the rattling sound went away. Hey, that's the one who told me, don't tell mechanics what's wrong with your car. That's what they're paid for, to diagnose, discern, and repair. He said, I could have sold you a whole new rear end and you would have never known it. I was like, good point. So I think doctors is the same way. Our health is so important. Our well-being is so important. And there's so many factors in it. Well, let's not hamstring the doctor. Imagine if you were to go fishing. And to go fishing, the first thing you had to do is get in your car or pack your car, get in your car, go to your location, unpack the car, get your gear out, and go fishing and do all that goes with going fishing. But now, today, we're going to do it blindfolded. Why? Help the doc out, help yourself out. Maybe you'll stay out of doctor's appointments that way. I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad to see folks here. If you guys have any questions, comments, or queries, by all means, feel free to put them in the comments area here. We can always talk about what you want to talk about. Also, if you slide up in the comments area, I don't know if you're on a PC or on your phone, but I did put a link to join me. If you wanted to join me, I'd be more than happy to bring you into the stream and we can discuss what's near and dear and important to you. Let's do like this, bada boom, bada bing. And there you go. There's a link now in your comment section if you wanted to come into the show. Well, we call it a show, but it's just this daytime hour where I'm going to discuss a myriad of different topics throughout different parts of the week. Not sure exactly if this is going to be a every day at 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. But, I'm going to judge and see what's going on here with the inputs from folks. And maybe we can figure out a time slot that works really well for people. Of course, see, right now it's about 12:17, 12:18 here Central Standard Time, 1:18 Eastern. And that means it's about 10 o'clock left to 10 California time. Covering the coast and give it an opportunity for some people, maybe in South Africa, like our friend Sandra in Germany to check in. I don't know if Lindy can check in at this time. It's already tomorrow morning. She might be, I don't know, but I know she has a lot to do. But anyway, we're going to play around with this time slot and see what opportunities we can explore. Now, if there's a topic any of you want to discuss, again, throw it there, throw it in the comments, and I'm sure, I feel very confident that I could string together some words in a stream of consciousness to address that topic in one way, shape, form, or another. It can be a lot of different things too. We don't always just have to talk about food here. We can talk about movies. We can talk about a lot of different things. Hobbies you have. I'm a serial hobbyist, but I think the focus will always be on health, diet, and the one thing I have begun, at least for one day, one man, one day, one time. I got on my cross trainer yesterday and I did some exercise. And I'm going to try to follow some of Dr. Rhonda Patrick was talking with Thomas DeLauer, I want to say, and they were discussing. We all know what high intensity interval training, HIIT training is, where you warm up a little bit, and then you like Dr. Shawn O'Mara says you sprint or you go 80% of your VO2 max, you just crank it out and do whatever it is you can do. And then you take a break, so 15, 20, 40 seconds of going all out, 15, 20, 40 seconds of rest. Well, what Dr. Patrick was talking about and some other folks is that maybe what it is, you do 80% of your max, 70 to 80%, work hard enough that you can't carry on a conversation, right? And you do that, whatever you can do at that level for 4 minutes. And then you go and you let it go 4, 5, 6 minutes. And then you do it again, kind of like doing your hair, you get it wet, you lather, rinse, repeat. And if you do 4 sets of that, 4 sets of 4-minute hit intervals, however long it takes you to do that. They did a study, a bunch of men, they did this, and in 2 years, those subjects literally rewove their heart, rebuilt their hearts, the anatomical structure of their hearts to appear 20 years younger. That's 2 years. I just did it yesterday. We'll see if we can do another one tomorrow or the day after. And I only did one 4-minute one. And my suboptimal or my optimal time, that 80% is pretty low. I don't have to do a lot to be breathing heavy, but I did it. I got one done. Tomorrow, we'll see if we can get 2 done. Might do it today, but today I was doing the lawns. I did the fertilizing and spraying weed killer on the front lawn, just the front and the sides. 2,000 steps. That's a lot of stepping. And I still have the backyard to do and the back 40 to do. But anyway, the point being is I'm going to try to do more physical activity. I think the diet is 80% of everything. Many people have said that. I'm not coining any new phrases. Anybody who's been very successful at the highest levels of physical achievement has said 80% of the battle is in the kitchen. It's at the table, not in the gym. The gym is part of it. I don't know why do they call it. I know why they call it gym. I was going to try to be funny and say why don't they call it a Nancy? But in the gymnasium, right? Most of it's not done in the exercise phase. It's in the recovery phase. It's at the kitchen table, and it's learning to equate the success you want tomorrow with the sacrifice today. So if you want to be physically fit and have that non-scale victory of fitting into a certain clothing or having the ability to do certain tasks Well, that would probably necessitate that today you make the sacrifice for tomorrow's gain. Remember the old Popeye cartoon, and Wimpy would say, "I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today." And everybody thought that was such funny because no one would ever lend credit for you to buy a hamburger today with money tomorrow. Yet we live our lives that way. Well, I want to be healthy. I want to be in good condition. I want to be capable of touching my toes other than when I'm sitting on the floor. You know what I mean? I want to be able to touch the floor from a standing position, maybe whatever your thing is. Pick up the grandbabies, hold the grandbabies, go playing with grandbabies and children. That's for me. Well, that is going to only happen when I get my weight and my health under control. So this whole idea of doing hit training and doing it the way they prescribed and rebuilding my heart. I'm 61. I'll be 62 here in a few months. Few months? Okay, 4 months. Um, I would love to have the heart of a 42-year-old. I absolutely love it. Now, my CAC score is or was perfect. I had a great CAC score. Love that. But that doesn't talk about the gooey plaque. That only talks about the hard plaque. So knowing that sometimes my blood sugar was up a little bit, knowing that my insulin was up a little bit, knowing that my triglycerides were stupid high. Well, okay, slightly elevated, right around 300 or 400. I can't remember. But they're better now. That's all good. I mean, just stop stuffing junk in my face, and they get a lot better. But I think the part that's been missing for me, and you had asked this mom about how long I've been doing it and everything. The problem was wasn't doing any physical exercise, and I need to do anaerobic work, not just aerobic. Hey, there she is, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce you to the fabulous and wonderful Limitless Lindy coming to us from down under. You're not missing me again. Oh, 4 a.m. at the flower market. Daughter is cracking the whip. Well, I'm cracking the jokes. Now, I want to get Lindy, you just missed. We had Sandra Johnson in from Germany. So, in this 1 hour and 1 minute time frame, we've had everything from Australia to Germany. So that's awesome. Good to see you, Lindy. I know you got lots to do there at the flower shop. I remember my wife used to deliver flowers, and then she worked at a flower shop, and she loved it. She's an artist. She's the one who painted that painting right there. That right there, that's the wife's work. That's why it's up there because she paints nice, and I love that. Um, but yeah, it's great to see you out there, Lindy, and I hope that all is going well with you. I know you're getting excited about Austin and the what is it, biohack convention, the old keto con. I won't be able to make it this time, but maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll make it. I hope. It'd be great to make it to one of the larger confabs, but right now, yeah, I'm a worldwide sensation. Yeah, yeah, you're too kind. You're too kind. I would like to be. I would love to be. Who am I kidding? I would love to be um, a YouTube influencer, but right now I'm going to settle for a guy who is successfully working towards not only changing my body chemistry and getting healthy, but maybe, just maybe, putting a smile on someone's face and bringing people together who may all of their own accord and in their own way um, achieve some sense of personal success for themselves and for their family. Because really, relationships and people are really where it's at. And I know that, Lindy, you are doing a wonderful job. You and Todd, and yet what you do is so wonderful because, as I was mentioning earlier, and Mama was listening to me go on and on about it, but you lived life. You've been through the challenges. You know, you've walked the ground that so many people are looking at. And that ground is fraught with pitfalls from family and from friends and close associates who are going to poo-poo what you are doing, who are going to say, "Oh, you're going to go blind. You're going to kill your kidneys doing this stuff," right? But you went and you did it, and you're still doing it, and it's inspirational what you do. It's it is generationally inspirational what you are doing, what Todd is doing. And I love how Carnivore Kip has the sign on the back of his studio that says, "The fat in my family tree ends with me," right? So if I were wearing a hat, my hat would be off to you, hat tip to you, because um, doing doing the work is a lot more influential than talking about it. And I'm trying to do it. I'm working on it. I'm gonna get there. I've got a new goal. Yesterday, I decided that I'm gonna try to get down to my enlistment weight, the weight I had to be 40 years ago on November 20th when I went into the Air Force. I had to make weight, and it was such a struggle, and my blood pressure was just on the edge. I had to do breathing exercises to get my blood pressure down so I could, successfully get into the service. 40 years ago, 40 years ago, no clue that the 12 to 18 soda pops I was drinking a day and the pint of alcohol I was drinking a day may not have been helping me. I can't believe it. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have guessed? Liters and liters of Coca-Cola and root beer, pounds of hot dogs and Wonder Bread, pounds of bread, lots of sugar, lots of alcohol will somehow or another cause my blood pressure to be high, my weight to be high. Duh. Here's your sign, Mr. Fatty McFatty. Oh, but to have that Wayback Machine, to go back and grab that guy by the collar and say, "Wake up! Stop doing that." Well, I can do that today. I can do it today. We can do it today. Together, we can do that taking thing. We can motivate. We can lift up. It's amazing. Isn't it, Lindy? Tell me, Lindy, is it not amazing? I know it has to be a challenge for you and for Todd and for others to regularly get into the YouTube stream and to do the things you do, and that there's a pressure and a demand on you. But when you're in there and people are uh, singing your praises, they're lifting accolades, and they're sharing with you even more so their successes because of what you've shared. Is that not empowering? The challenge maybe is to find that balance. What do they call that? Work-life balance. Yeah, I'm gonna do this much YouTube, and I'm gonna do all the rest of this family stuff. But the family and the job and the YouTube all rest on the foundation of health, and all are under that umbrella, right? All are under that umbrella of your well-being. So you got your well-being here. You got all these different little segments and silos of your life, all dependent on your health. So I know it's a challenge. I find it's myself sometimes. Sometimes I go away. It's one of the reasons I kind of went away from doing the YouTube thing, because I found myself in a state of disillusionment, thinking that YouTube was gonna be fulfilling. Mm, un poquito, right? Not so much. But I'm glad to see you here, and I thank you, and I'm glad you were able to check in. Now, Lindy, I have a question for you, and Mama, and whoever's watching. Have any of you attempted or thought about or even watched to see how salt is harvested from the ocean? I did that yesterday. Wonderful rabbit hole. And I think I'm going to try to make my own sea salt. Well, process my own sea salt. You just go grab a bucket of salt water. Oh, mama cracker. Oh, yeah. If you just go into your YouTube up at the top there in the search bar and type in like French salt harvesting, there's a couple of them. One of them done by National Geographic. It's in French, but they have subtitles. But there are other ones. And so here's what happens. You take a gallon of salt water, you put it in the pan. Well, you filter it, run it through a coffee filter. You filter it. And then this is a home thing. You filter it. Then you take that, you put it on the stove and a medium heat, and not too high because you don't want to get overly heat, because then the salt will cling to the bottom and burn. But what you do is you reduce your gallon of water down to, let's say, a quart, and then you turn it down really nice and low, and let it just continue to steam off and to reduce. And pretty soon you'll just have all these salt crystals in the bottom of the pan. I'm talking like 3/4 of a cup out of a gallon. And then you take that all out. Don't finish it that way. Then you take it all out, spread it on a cookie sheet. Put the cookie sheet, you could do it on parchment paper. Put the cookie sheet into the oven at the lowest temperature your oven has, and let it go in there for a couple hours. With every 10 or 15 minutes, go in there and shaking it and breaking it up because the salt will want to clump. And pretty soon you'll have your 3/4 half cup of salt that you made. Now, look, you boiled it for a few hours. You cooked it in the oven for a few hours. It's not going to have any bad stuff in it. Okay. And if you wanted to, you can take that same process. And after you reduce it 2/3, you can put garlic and thyme or garlic or liquid smoke in the water, let that cook all the way down, then skim it out. And then you'll have flavored salt. And one guy even made the flake salt, that really expensive. I cannot believe it. But this much, a container, 2/3 full, this little cup, little itty bitty juicy cup, right? That little cup, 2/3 full with some of this fluid French salt, $400, $300. A pound of it could be $400, $500, $600. That's the stuff they put on the top of your $35 steak. And then when you bite it, it crunches. Was one gentleman did a lab experiment, and he grew that in his lab. Maybe I'll talk about it sometime. But you could do your own salt, and it would be sea salt. And Lindy, I don't know how close you are to the ocean. I'm not close, but when I go down to yeah, well, yeah, except for 6 hours to get to the ocean, right? But here, this is what's good. So, Mama, what this one gentleman did at home was he took his I don't want to hear. He got a sea salt, so there's nothing in it but salt, right? And he reconstituted it in some water. He got it to where it was, in suspension, right? And then he went through the same process, reboiled it out, and he went real slow, and he was able to make the crystals, the flake salt, because the flake salt is merely a process by which you allow the salt to form crystals, and it makes a pyramid in the water. It forms on the surface and it makes it like a pyramid, like a upside, like an iceberg pyramid, and it has a little bit of a cup. And then when you hold that together, you're very gentle with it. When you use that salt, you can crush it between your teeth, and it's not hard like rock salt. You could do this if you wanted to. Yeah, uh-huh. So I could go to the store and get good quality. If I want to get Celtic salt or I want to get Redmond salt, if I wanted to make flake salt, I could do that. I really could. But you don't want to get the stuff with the anti-caking agents in it. But anyway, I just thought it was really interesting. We all talk about electrolytes, salt, and stuff. So I thought, well, I could do that. I could do that, and that'd be interesting. But again, it's an exercise. I like to ferment things, and I like to experiment with things, and that's just the way I do things. That's not for everybody, but if you go out there and just watch these guys and gals, what they do, the one in France, what they do is they make the salt flats, and there they have like a blue clay. Anyway, they make little shallow ponds, lots of them, and they're real shallow, and they let the seawater come in, and then the wind and the sun. And what happens is some of the salt will form, the sodium chloride, I want to say, will form on the surface, and then they come along with a skimmer and they skim it off. So it's very labor intensive. That's why it's $400 a pound. But you have salt that floats to the top that they harvest, and then you have salt that precipitates out to the bottom, and they pull that out too. That's your table salt, your coarse salt, your maybe even your what do they call that? The salt. Oh my, that you would use for being not halal, but for Jewish people, generally speaking. But anyway, you can do these different salts, and you watch the videos, and it's an amazing, interesting thing to go to see how salt. And we know salt's important because the Romans used to pay their soldiers in salt. If you don't have salt, you couldn't preserve your food. We all need salt. We can get better salt, and there are ways we can actually make our salt better for us through the processes. But I just thought it was interesting, particularly when we talk about so many aspects of our health, and got to get outside kosher. Thank you very much, Mama. You just saved me. Thank you so much. To go to kosher salt, that you want to put on things, or if you're pickling, right, you might use kosher salt because it's a larger granule salt. But you probably wouldn't want to put it on top of a steak because you might crack a tooth. But if you made your own flake salt and you saved yourself, making it in the house, 50 cents for the salt, and sell it for $2 to $3 an ounce outside of the house. I'm not doing it, but it could be a side hustle, I guess. I'm just salty. I'm not an old guy with salt and pepper. Well, mainly salt, a little pepper. But you could do your own salt business. I'm not going to do it, but somebody could do it. Anyhow, but yeah, as we go along here, if there's ever anything you all want to share or talk about, I think I have an email address attached to this. It's pretty simple, scottyp65@gmail.com, which is weird to think that there were 64 other Scotty P's. No, it's because that's how tall I am. So yeah, scottyp65@gmail.com. You can always send me digits, or you can actually go Carnivore Scott@gmail.com. That'd probably be better. Carnivore Scott@gmail.com. And you can always send me a topic or a comment or a query, and I'd be happy to research it and present a little discussion about that. Obviously not from a medical standpoint or anything like that, but just from a opportunity for us to share with each other. Oh, I see I left a mess. And I did have my hat. I could have done a hat tip, but big it could be a big change coming up. This is my I Love Me book. And what it's full of is all my accomplishments over my working life, particularly in the military, because I may join the workforce again fairly soon. I don't know. I could. I might. I don't know for sure. But if I do, I do. And if I don't, I don't. I know that was very poignant statement. Pardon me for going off the screen there. But I had to grab the book out yesterday to talk to a guy. Go, oh yeah, I remember. I did this, and oh, I did that, and I hope you don't mind. It was 20 years ago. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. But it's been about an hour and 15 minutes, and I think that's a good time to give everybody an option to get in, to get out, to say hi, and to establish this daytime show. If it's working for you, let me know. If you like this time slot, let me know. If there's a better time slot that you can look at, by all means, let me know. But when I look at the things that are live right now on YouTube, I'm going to do it real quick while we're here. I'm going to just look at currently on live YouTube. We got the White House press briefing, a launch pad, Dateline, some people in foreign countries doing things. We have Russell Brand is on with 2,000 people. The Pat McAfee, so you got that. Yeah, a lot of the stuff going on right now doesn't really address the things that we talk about. So I think I'll keep doing this, and maybe this will be a time and a place where more of us can get together and share some things. So with all that being said, I truly hope that everything goes well for you in the rest of your day. I appreciate you taking the time to to come by. I hope you smash the like button and that you've been able to uh, um, share this and evangelize this. And we'll see you on the next time. And I will post the time ahead. Sure, I'll do that. Hey, Marvin, you take a happy Easter. Yes, thank you so much. That's a great thing, Marvin. I appreciate that. I do hope that all of you who are of a faith have the opportunity to practice your faith, and that you are constantly keeping the first things first in your life, and that we don't let YouTube dominate the important aspects of our lives. Remember, we have so many things. There's an underpinning and there's an umbrella, and here we are in the middle doing all these things. So again, peace, prayers, and blessings to each one of you. And I'll see you next time. And you know what, Mama? I will do that. I will work to get some kind of placard up to say, hey, we're going to do a daytime show. Thank you again. God bless. Take care. Bye bye. Or